recently talked about how the government is planning on going on a privatization spree, and it seems like our words are already coming true. Coal India Limited is reportedly planning on taking all its 8 subsidiaries public. But why? Welcome back to Revolution Read On, a daily podcast where we break down one story from the world of business and finance. Click on the subscribe button to never miss an update from us. Here's your story for today. Now, you're probably wondering, how can Coal India be private if it's going public? Well, the government is currently the major shareholder in Coal India Limited. But it is now planning on selling the company to private investors or the general public. So it is being privatized by going to the public. However, we are not entirely sure if the government will privatize Coal India or divest ownership. What's the difference? You see, privatization is when the government gives up full control of a public sector undertaking, like in the case of Air India. But if the government is only diluting ownership by giving away part of its stake, then the process is called disinvestment, like in the case of LIC. Currently, the Coal Ministry has approved a draft note to sell 25% of Coal India's consulting unit, Central Mine Planning and Design Institute. The plans to divest or privatize other subsidiaries are unclear as of now. Now, back to our original question. Why this plan anyway? Well, these subsidiaries are ripe for sale right now thanks to the increase in demand for coal. Our really hot summers have caused us all to crank up our fans, ACs, and coolers, which means we need lots of electricity. And for that, we need lots of coal. Yes, 72% of our electricity still comes from coal. And with energy demand set to rise, our demand for coal is set to hit 1.5 billion tons, an increase of 63% from current levels by 2030. So, Coal India thinks it can find a lot of buyers right now. Now, you're probably thinking, but why sell at all? Why can't the government keep running Coal India? You see, the government believes that this non core sector will do better in the hands of the private sector. It believes that the private sector will bring in more efficiency and order to the coal industry, which is the need of the hour. And to some extent, the government is right. Even though, like many other PSUs, Coal India isn't riddled with huge losses, it has other financial issues. For instance, power utilities and power distribution companies owe Coal India 12,300 crore rupees and 1,10,000 crore rupees respectively. Because of this, the sector doesn't really have money for research and development. It has also had to shut down 82 mines in the last 3 to 4 years because it wasn't sustainable for it to run them any longer. However, many of these mines still had extractable coal, around 380 million tons, which is why the PSU is now also offering these up to the private sector. But just giving a few old mines will not help the company. The government feels the only way to unlock the potential of this sector is through the entry of the private sector. But the private sector is just as unimpressed with this offer as it had been with the auction for private railway tracks. Over 70% of mines attracted no bids. Because even though demand for coal may be temporarily rising, most private players know that the future of energy is green. With the governments across the world now taking climate change seriously, finally, not only will the demand for coal soon fizzle out, the industry will also probably come under a lot of regulation. And India is also prioritizing green energy now to achieve its goal of going carbon neutral by 2070. In this scenario, will Coal India subsidiaries find buyers? And even if they do, should the government privatize them? You see, the reason the coal industry was strictly kept under government regulation all these years was that the private sector was too good at coal extraction. In its pursuit of efficiency, the sector often disregarded things like worker safety, the environment, and a concern for the natural resources. So, giving this sector back in the hands of the common public, that is, if there are any takers, could bring back these problems. But for now, the privatization is a mere speculation. In the last year itself, the government has tried to privatize several companies but failed. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the case of Coal India. And with that, it's a wrap on your story for today. Thanks for listening in. We'll be back on Monday.